Proposition 2.5 is a law enacted in 1980 by voter initiative. It went into effect for fiscal year 1982 and dramatically changed local budgeting practices because it constrains or limits the annual property tax levy. To understand how the constraint works, we must define three terms, what we refer to as the three building blocks of Proposition 2.5. 1. The tax levy, 2. The levy limit, and 3. The levy ceiling. The first building block is the property tax levy. The property tax levy is the revenue a community raises through real and personal property taxes each year when it sets its tax rate. The property tax levy is the largest source of revenue most municipalities have to fund their budgets. Therefore, any constraint on the levy has a substantial impact on a community's budget. Budgets adopted before Proposition 2.5 were often driven by departmental spending requests with limited coordination among local officials and little attention paid to other local revenue sources, such as charging fees to users of local services. The reason was that property taxes could always be levied at whatever amount was needed to balance the budget at the time the tax rate was set. Proposition 2.5 fundamentally changed this process. Now, budget decisions must be made within a specific revenue estimate. This has generally led to greater coordination and better defined budgeting that considers the current and future needs and financial goals of the community. Proposition 2.5 established two types of limits on the annual property tax levy. 1. The levy limit, and 2. The levy ceiling. The second building block is the annual levy limit. The levy limit is the key or primary limitation established by Proposition 2.5. It is the maximum dollar amount a community can routinely levy in any given fiscal year. That is, it defines the maximum amount of property tax revenue a community will ordinarily have to support its annual budget. The third building block is the annual levy ceiling. The levy ceiling is the maximum amount the levy limit may be in any given year. It is a constraint on the size of the annual levy limit. To summarize the basic concept of how Proposition 2.5 works, we start with the basic building block of the annual property tax levy. The tax levy must fit within the annual levy limitation block, and the levy limit must fit within the annual levy ceiling block. The Department of Revenue is responsible for determining the annual levy limit and ceiling for each community and ensuring the tax levy fixed by the setting of the tax rate complies with Proposition 2.5.